Hey everybody, today I want to show you a new tool that we developed to help people understand how stormwater runoff flows from the landscape to the Mississippi River in our watershed. And I think the easiest way for me to explain what this is going to be just to show you how it works. So let's jump right into it. So what I've done here is I've gone to mwmo.org/path to the river. And I'm looking at a map of our watershed. You can see our watershed boundaries, and here is downtown Minneapolis, and you've got Columbia Heights up here. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit, and I'm gonna click on a point on the map, and we're just gonna watch to see what happens. Okay, so what it's doing now is it's tracing a path from the point that I clicked on the map to the Mississippi River. And what that path is the actual path that stormwater runoff takes through the storm sewer system out to the river. And there's some additional information here. So it's telling us that it's taking 47 minutes, and this is based on a 1-inch rain event. So in a 1-inch rain event, when water falls on this location, this is telling us it's going to take 47 minutes to get to the river. It's also telling us that that stormwater is untreated, meaning the water is not going to be filtered by a rain garden or any kind of landscape feature that would take the pollution out of the stormwater runoff. And that's pretty common. That's most of our watershed is not treated currently for stormwater pollution. And then it's also telling us that this particular area that we clicked on has a medium potential for stormwater pollution. Okay, I'm gonna zoom out and let's do another one. I am going to move up to a different part of Northeast Minneapolis. I'm gonna turn on the satellite imagery so we can see this a little bit better. Now, some people might recognize this. This is Thomas Edison High School. And you might know that we had a project here a few years ago, the Edison Green Campus, where we installed a variety of stormwater treatment features onto the campus here. So up in the parking lot here, we installed a tree trench and some permeable pavers and a rain garden. And then we installed a stormwater reuse system that's actually used to irrigate the athletic field. And then actually just last year, we installed some underground infiltration features underneath Monroe Street here. So let's see what happens when I click on the parking lot. Okay, so it's tracing the path to the river, and you can see that we're getting a very different result here. First of all, it's telling us that it's taking 137 hours and 48 minutes to get from Edison High School's parking lot to the river. And that is because the stormwater is going into one of those stormwater features, one of those stormwater best management practices, and it's staying there for a while. The water is being treated by some filtration media that is taking out the pollutants, and then eventually it's making its way to the river. So that's an example of an area in our watershed where there actually is some treatment. And what this is actually based on is our watershed models. So we've been creating these detailed computer models over the last few years for our entire watershed that tell us how stormwater flows during storm events, and also the amount of pollution that's being generated from different points on the landscape. And what we're using that data for is to target our green infrastructure projects so that we can capture the most pollution at the lowest cost. And as an offshoot of that watershed modeling project, we created this Path to the River tool, which is essentially a simplified representation of how stormwater flows and is treated in our watershed. I should also mention that it has some limitations. It doesn't account for every single residential rain garden, for example. So if you click on your house and it shows the path going to the river and it's not being treated by your rain garden, that's just because we don't have that kind of granular data included in the application that we built. Another thing to be aware of is the pollution potential is being based only on the land use category. So the categories that have the highest potential would be things like industrial areas, commercial areas, areas where there's a lot more hardscape. Single family and multifamily would fall more into the medium category, and then things like parkland or golf courses generally would fall into the low category. So it's not a 100% accurate representation that includes all of the different factors, but it is an educational tool that people can use to help understand where stormwater is flowing from their house or their workplace or a place in their community that they are concerned about to the Mississippi River. And that is about it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed learning about our new tool. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at contacts@mwmo.org, and have a great day.